I also tell like potential clients and homeowners that too. Like they're scared of getting like reckless guests or like the wrong crowd. And I'm like, honestly, it's like what you put into your Airbnb too. Like if you're gonna put like a bunch of like, crazy wallpaper and like crazy lights and like whatever, you're probably gonna attract like a partier. But if you put like nice West Elm, whatever, more sophisticated furnishings, that's who you're gonna attract at the end of the day.
What's up, everybody? My name's Mike Sjogren, here with my co-host,
Emmanuel Pani.
We're part of a group of specialized real estate investors you've probably never heard of.
We didn't start with deep pockets or wealthy families, and we don't rely on 401ks, mutual funds, or traditional real estate investing.
In fact, many of us don't even own the properties that fund our freedom. If you ask the money experts out there, they'd say what we do is impossible, yet it's happening every single day.
It's happening through a new niche called short-term rentals.
We are Short-Term Rental Nation, and these are our secrets. What's going on, STR Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Short-Term Rental Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Mike Sjogren, here with my main man and brother from another mother, coming in all the way across the country, Mr. Emmanuel Pani. What's up, E?
My brother, so good to see you. I am sitting in a hotel room in Oakland, California right now. So my background looks a little bit different because of that. No microphone today. So Mike and I were kind of laughing that it's kind of like we're back at the old days of actually the old days was us doing a show called Lunch Money, which I don't know a lot of people know about, but Mike and I, that's when we first kind of started talking all things real estate. And then we learned that we also needed to be kind of like a little bit more narrow and more concentrated. And we kind of both found our calling and our niche. But yeah, super excited. I'm here to go back to sit in ayahuasca, which is a plant medicine for those of you that don't know. It's always a very exciting and humbling kind of time. It comes with some rules and a special diet that you have to follow. And so it's very interesting, right? Like one of the main things that is always a challenge for me is no coffee. And any of our people know I am a coffee addict, right? Like I am always, I am always drinking coffees. If you saw me in Nashville, you come to any of our events, I have either a coffee in my hands or I'm on my way to get coffee or I'm handing you my phone being like, hey, do you want to order coffee? So it's been rough, but again, super excited, super grateful. Yeah, man, life is good. How about you? How's the hotel coming along?
It's good, man. It's a lot of moving pieces. And just like, we talked on the boardroom about this earlier. It's just like, you just have to go in with the right expectations. Like, again, we were thinking that this thing was going to be open by June, at least for the first phase and all these other things. And then all these other wrinkles come up and most likely that's not going to happen. So I always tell people, build in a healthy contingency. Like if your budget is, I don't know, say the renovation's 100,000, budget 150. Like I'd rather have you over budget and come in under than have you stressing out of your mind to get it over the line and get it operational, because stuff just costs more and takes more time and just stuff comes up. So it's just part of the game. But we're excited. Met with a local branding company for the hotel yesterday. Got some good ideas on that. So like really, really excited for that, to touch base again with him. And just been getting the the health dialed in. I've been good with like sticking to my meal plans and working out. I'm a little sweaty. I just got my leg workout in. And it's funny, E, when we went to 10X, I don't even know if you remember this, but Grant Cardone's conference back in 2019, they were giving out these like 10X health water bottles.
Yeah.
And I just saw it in my cabinet. And maybe a month ago, the 10X health guy was on Ryan Panetta's podcast and I was watching it and I was like, I should do that. So I ordered one of their genetic tests and I just got the results back. And it was pretty nuts. It's kind of crazy, like how spot on it is with me and my craziness. So
yeah,
I'm just really focusing on dialing in the health. Because again, if you don't have that, it's like the money is kind of pointless. So
and we're so blessed now with all the stuff. Like I know you wear your Aura ring. Tasha just got one as well, and it's amazing. Like the amount of data and information that you have access to now. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And you really have no excuse anymore, right? Like it's not a thing that it's, and again, like you said, bro, like it's once you don't have that, you don't have anything else. So I'm glad. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in Nashville and getting some workouts in together.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. And I'm excited. We're on like a lady boss train lately, bringing on some badass women on the
Hell
show.
yeah.
So
Good
in
stuff.
keeping that going, today we've got oh, sorry, pulling it up here. Today we've got Mercedes Sanchez on the show, and we're talking offline, man. I'm really excited for this because she brings more of a true hospitality background to this, like being professionally trained with some of the best, and how she's translated that into her short-term rental business. So she is the founder of MBX Homes, a hospitality forward STR management company. And not only do they specialize in short-term rentals, they also promote their homes for productions and film opportunities. There's a whole bunch of other good stuff, but I want to hear it directly from her. So, Mercedes, welcome to the show.
Hi guys, how are you?
I am great.
Super
Thanks
excited.
for having me.
I didn't even know about this whole production side. So I can't
Mm,
wait. I can't
It
wait for
is
us to get to that.
we could talk another 3 hours about production and film usage, but yes, it is a game changer, especially being in LA, let me tell you.
I love it. I love it. So your background was really interesting, and I think it like you said offline, I think it does bring a unique perspective to this industry. So walk us back through your background and then how you got into short-term rentals.
Yeah, so I think everything kinda happens on purpose. Moved to Las Vegas right before high school, hated the high school I was, like, supposed to go to, right, when they, like, zone you in, and then Vegas has all these cool, like, magnet schools you could, like, pick and choose from, you could apply. I got into a hospitality program, I didn't even know what it was, but I was like, "You get to go on these cool field trips in Las Vegas and visit hotels? Like, let's just go for it," right? So my parents, like, signed me up for it. I loved it. Like, I excelled. Top of my class in hospitality. I ended up getting a full ride scholarship to go to UNLV for the hospitality program. And this scholarship is run by like all the top executives in Vegas. So your connections right there, like basically, like they train you, they mold you, like you have like off campus classes, like etiquette classes. It's really like intense. Um, Graduate UNLV, I get picked up by Four Seasons Resorts. I was there for 8 years. And, everyone's story kind of switches when COVID happens. So, of course, get laid off in April. My uncle, I will say, kind of started this business or helped me, I should say. He has a bunch of apartments. They were sitting empty during COVID because, everyone kind of moved out of LA. There was no work for anyone if you're, in the industry. And I was like, "Let's just turn them into Airbnbs." And he was like, "No." Like, not doing it. He's old school. He's been a landlord for years. He's like, "Absolutely no." And I was like, "Just trust me." Like, I had just moved for, like, a new position within Four Seasons. Like, I had all this furniture and storage, and I'm like, "We're gonna put all my furniture in. We're gonna deck it out, and let's see what happens." Well, let's just say this man is not all full for Airbnb. Um, I really loved the process of getting it ready, getting it going. I put myself on like Thumbtack, Facebook Market, or not Facebook Marketplace, but Facebook groups. And just one led to another. And now we're sitting at 33 rentals.
I love it. I love
Wow.
it. I think we lost your video, but I want to ask because I think this is relevant because I hear this from a lot of people who may have family members that own a single family or a duplex or apartment buildings, and they're like, they want to approach them, but then they get that pushback again, especially if they've been doing it a long time because it has the stigma, especially from the
Totally.
old timer investors.
Yeah.
How did you eventually get them over the hump, or what were some of their biggest reservations with it? It's kind of like fear of the unknown, but I want to hear it from your side.
Yeah, absolutely. So, he is a landlord. He has multiple properties. In this specific one, it's a apartment complex with like 8 units. So one was sitting empty. I mean, it was like months it was sitting empty. So it was kind of like, let's just gamble. Like, you know what I mean? And he's like, "Okay, like you're liable," basically. But we kind of did it an untraditional way. We did a midterm rental. So we started off with like travel nurses.
Mm.
So we got like long-term travelers. And I think that was like a really big deal, like during COVID too. But to this day, we really only host like travel nurses and like traveling professionals. And he really enjoys that. And I think you have to show them the benefits of it. So for him, especially in a tenant friendly community like LA, right? where the tenants have all the rights. He loves that he could go into the unit after 2 months, 3 months stay, see what it looks like, do the upgrades, right? Like, versus having a tenant there that they could potentially stay there for 5 years, paying the same amount of rent they were paying back in like 2010.
Mm.
That's such a great point. That's such a point that you don't really think about, because again, I don't come from a state that is very tenant friendly.
Right.
And it's such a
I
great,
do.
yeah, right. So
Yeah.
it's such a great point to think about. And so, and obviously I would assume also your hospitality background and being picked by the Four Seasons were like, look,
That wouldn't hurt.
yeah, exactly. Like the Four Seasons trusted me enough to hire me. Like this is a 1-bedroom apartment in LA. I think I can handle it. And so you went from that one, and so I assume you knew you could do it, right? But then,
Kind of. I was
yeah,
like, let's just see how I can utilize other property owners and like, make money off their money. It's a different way of arbitrage, put it that way.
yeah, I love that. And so, how did you go from your uncles and you kind of got the confidence there? What were the next kind of couple of ones, and then when did you reach that kind of
Uh,
hockey stick?
so Thumbtack, huge, huge fan of Thumbtack. Like I put myself as a property manager on there. I put myself as a stager. I put myself as like all these different things that we could potentially be that could relate to Airbnb. And, like, we kinda took any job for experience because this is, like, a whole new industry. Like, it's super similar to hotels, but very different at the end of the day. So we took staging jobs on, we took, like, honestly, not cleaning jobs, but, like, people looking for, like, a cleaning company to handle their Airbnb. We then got on Facebook groups, and we saw a huge need on the Facebook groups for just, like, runners, inspectors, like, maybe these people didn't wanna hire a full company to pay, 20% commission, but they needed, like, another eye on their Airbnb, so we took on those jobs, charged them 75 bucks an hour, and, like, we were just, like money was coming in, and we saw, like, a huge need for good management companies. At the beginning, we were really just, like, a takeover company, like, they weren't happy with their current management team because they were, like, overseas or they were, like, too big of a corporation. And I just think in LA, like, there's so many special houses that they really needed, like, that person on the floor doing the job, understanding the house, knowing their landscaper, knowing their housekeeper, knowing the pool guy, like, a lot more went into it.
Mm. That's
Mm.
interesting.
I love the
So
takeover company.
It's a really
That's such an
untraditional.
interesting term, because we've never heard that before. Like, we're
dude, I feel like
a
if
takeover
you could
company.
you could s I mean, it would be a hell of a management system, but there's such a need for runners
Dude,
everywhere. Like,
I hire writers now, like, I need writers. Like, we just hired a new girl for the summer that we're onboarding now, and she's gonna handle 5 houses. And she's just, gonna make sure things get done.
mm,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what the margins are, but if you could figure that out, you got a whole nother business right there, just in that little niche within a niche. But
Yeah.
um, I want to dovetail that in. So you got the first one with your uncle, and then you started taking some of these odds and ends ones. Kind of let's walk through to what does your portfolio look like now? And then I want to talk about your guest experience, which
Yeah.
may be a little different than a lot of other operators.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we started taking odd jobs, and pretty much the homeowners were like, "All right, like, we're paying you $75 an hour, like, just do everything, we'll pay you commission." I'm like, "Yeah." So now we're a full management company. Now we're a co-host. Now we're getting into, like, talking to guests and booking, and right now we're sitting at 32 properties that we fully manage. We still have 5 properties that are, like, our OG clients that we only do cleanings for and run our tasks for, but without those 5 clients, like, we wouldn't be who we are today, so those are our special 5 that we love. So now we're at 32 properties that we fully manage. So it's
That's
pretty
amazing. Congratulations. That's awesome. And what time period?
2
Is
years.
that what you're going to
So
ask me?
super quick.
What sizes? Like, what are the range of sizes? So they range from the 1-bedroom from your uncle to
Yeah,
how? how big do you go?
So as large. So we have a bunch of 1 bedrooms, obviously. We have a handful of 2 bedrooms, and then we have some 4 and 5 bedroom houses that are in LA that, can hold up to like 12 guests, have pools, have game rooms, super cool experiences that people come to the city for. And I feel like when, tourists come to LA, like it's kind of a once in a lifetime trip for them. Like it could be multi-generational families coming there and like the kids are there, the grandma's there, everyone's there. So something for everybody.
Interesting. And let's talk about that guest experience because, like you were saying, I mean, you came from like the Four Seasons, right? So that's just super high level of customer service. And how did you dovetail that into what you're doing now?
I think just attention to detail and like really just understanding why the guest is visiting your property. I mean, don't get me wrong, we always have like the guest who's just there for work, right? For 4 days and like they could care less what we do. But we have like those special trips that people are spending such good money. Like they're staying 6 nights at your house. They're paying well over $500 a night. Like you should do something nice for them. Because at a hotel, if they're paying $500 a night, you're gonna get the concierge service, you're gonna get, the complimentary whatever amenities, you're gonna have access to different outlets, to food and beverage. You're not necessarily getting that in an Airbnb, and I think they obviously get it, but if they even know that their host cares and understands the reason behind their stay, and if you know that they have little kids, so you throw in, like, some fruit snacks and you know what I mean? Like, throw in, like, some small items for the kids, happy parents or happy guest. Um, or even if you know they're going to, like, a Rams game and you throw in, like, some Rams gear or, like, put in, like, some Rams, like, to-go cups. People love that stuff, and, like, they're gonna
So
book with you when they come back.
I love all of that. And now to get a little tactical, how are you getting that information from them? Like, what's that process look like? Because I'm thinking, how do I systemize
Yeah,
this
how do I
across the whole
scale that?
portfolio?
Okay,
Yeah,
the
to
biggest
find out.
is and so many STR operators are like, "What?" When I tell them, "I don't use VAs overseas." And I know it's a huge cost to our business, but we have local assistants who write these guests and ask them like, "Hey, thanks for booking. Where are you planning on going? Do you want any recommendations? Like, what concert are you going to? Like, at this forum this weekend? Oh, like that's so awesome." Like we literally talk to our guest and then
You
we
got
just
it.
find out like little information. I mean, we've had people even come for like unfortunately funerals and like we'll throw a bouquet in there and just like apologize like for their loss and it just makes a big difference.
See, I'm so glad that we're talking about this today because from this side, the STR side, we tend to focus on systems and automation and
I know.
reducing overhead and all these things. And then what I realized after we did the first hotel with the Cove is I tried to do it that way and it wasn't working. So then we brought on staff and we had to do a lot of those things, not to that level. So I want to like push them this year to do more of that, but it works because you can charge a premium for better service. And it
Exactly.
just people like I'm cool with that. Like I will gladly pay a premium to treat me like a VIP. Like, and it sounds bougie to say, but like I don't care. Like I will gladly pay an extra 50, $100 a night, whatever it is, for that kind of treatment for somebody to like reach out and then have I'm a coffee snob too, like I'm like, have the espresso beans that I like there with like an espresso machine. Like those little like just if you could figure out a way to do those little things, dude, nobody 99% of hosts on Airbnb are not doing that.
Well, people pay for convenience. Like, I think that's a no-brainer. We all love Uber Eats, we all love DoorDash, like, we all pay for convenience, and I think people will pay more even on their vacation for convenience.
Mhm.
And I mean,
Yeah.
that could correlate too to, like, paying, a half day rate for, like, an early check-in. Like, that's all the same thing, it's just how you go about it. And I also translate that to my clients, the homeowners, right? So, we work directly with the homeowners, so sometimes, they say like, "Okay, well, I could get another management company for 10%." And I'm like, "You can, but we're providing something so different." And, after like 6 months, 8 months, a year goes on and they see they get repeat customers and their reviews are like top notch. Like they understand why they're paying our percentage.
Yeah. You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I cut you off before. Did you have something else you want to go down?
No, you went exactly where I was going. in terms
Okay.
of like systematize and understand. And it's funny because like I think having a great VA overseas can be a huge value add to your business. But I also realize, for example, when dealing with, so we get a lot of calls, and obviously on the calls when they come in, myself handling those calls, I have a way of relating to people and a way of explaining things and a way of understanding location, areas, what they're doing, what they're looking for, that is so much superior to my VAs, just based on the fact that like they don't know our town
I know.
the way that we know it, right? And so there's this way of like, especially like my biggest client is the Ever Tennis Academy that's right next door to me. And to me, that's such an easy conversation, easy sale, because like go back 16, 17 years ago, we were a Ever family that immigrated from Italy for my little sister to play tennis. So when I'm talking to a customer that is coming to Ever to play tennis, I can relate to them and I can understand their worries. And if I'm talking to the husband, I'm like, we can put your wife on the second floor. She's gonna feel safer. She can open the front door and watch your daughter just walk across the street and have a perfect understanding. And you immediately kind of feel all their objection, all their worries about, and then whatever price you kind of tell them, they're like, yeah, no, that sounds great.
Right.
Right. And so that's very hard to teach to VAs overseas.
It is. And to me, like, as an operator, I'm not trying to spend 10 hours teaching them about LA. Like, I can't. So for me, I'd rather pay a premium hourly for somebody who understands, who I can know, who can, like, communicate this in, like, a well-mannered way. To
Mhm.
me, it's no-brainer.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an
So
interesting.
how many staff do you have, and how are you? I want to kind of peel back the hood a little bit to see like how your org structure is set up.
Yeah, so I think this year, my main focus is to peel back a little bit, because it is my baby. It's really hard. I'm a good delegator, but like I'm still like involved. So this is the year of me really delegating and really restructuring that organizational chart. So it's myself. My boyfriend plays a huge part in like marketing. He's a photographer. He takes all the photos. He's so tech savvy. So he does all like the tech and like marketing stuff. Then we have 2 VAs. Then we have, well, not virtual, but they are virtual. Um, we have a social media person who we get so many inquiries on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook. So she handles all of that and filters it through. We have a cleaning manager who his job is to strictly just talk to the cleaners. Like that right there took away, like I got back 15 hours of my week easily.
Mhm.
That's his job. And then we have about 12 cleaners, 2 handymen, and that's it. We run around.
That's it.
Are they? Are they
Like, it's just yeah, it's all the
Tw-
time.
25 people deep. She's like, yeah, that's it.
I know. Oh, and then now we have 3 more runners for the summer because it's so busy for spring and summer.
Are these all 1099 contractors,
Yeah.
or is anybody W-2? Okay.
Well, I'm W-2, but everyone else is
Yeah.
1099. Yeah. And that
Okay.
could change
Cool.
soon, but you never know,
Yeah,
right?
I have I've got a bunch for one of the hotels, but like just for STRs, it's just 2
Right.
W-2.
I think for hotels, I guess you have more money, like steady revenue coming in, so you kind of like predict that payroll.
Yeah. And I just have economies of scale now. So like like we just hired a full-time like property like maintenance person that like floats between the property. You know what I mean? Like just, but I think it definitely makes sense the way that you have it set up. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my VAs are really good, like really good.
So like
Um,
that's awesome. Like that right
like
there.
they're lights out. I'm not gonna lie. But I also do love having the convenience of local boots on the ground at the hotels that
Yes.
can give that extra level of, if somebody needs something, yes, we can walk them through it on the phone, but the fact that I have somebody there that can run over to the room, handle it, grab some wine from our stock, grab some whatever from our stock, some chocolates, whatever it is, mend over that situation goes so far. And
So
obviously you need the revenue to support that team, but it's just such a weight lifted. And then you're, again, more just in the quarterback role of managing all the different people.
Yeah, so that's definitely my role right now. I'm definitely like the quarterback, but hopefully removing myself so we could grow more. That's the only way. So I'm
Mhm.
kind
Yeah.
of, taking your advice, Michael. I'm in that investor mind state right now, mindset.
Good. Good. I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
So what's, go ahead, E.
We're gonna
I'm going
ask
to
her
shut up.
about the locations shoots.
Nope.
Filming.
Nope.
Yeah, filming. Yeah, that's where I was gonna go. So I wanted to just kind of pivot this completely. And again, I think there is just a few kind of markets that could work in. I know like Atlanta would be one of those markets. There's a huge movie industry in Atlanta, and I know we have a couple of followers in Atlanta. Shout out to Ruben. He's one of our OG
My guy.
listeners.
Ruben,
But
we're about to give you some
yeah,
secret sauce.
exactly. So walk us through one, what does that look like? Two, how you got into it. So who did you talk to? Is there a specific website you go on to like make your places available? Walk us through that.
So there's obviously Peerspace and Gigster are like the two big platforms. They're like the Airbnb for booking production spaces. And to be honest, I was really when I started my business, I was really trying to find like a way to like make us different and make clients want to sign a contract with us, right? And I was like, the only way we're going to be different is, yeah, one, we have our human touch, like we love AI and everything, but like we need that human touch still. And two, we should be marketing these properties like across all platforms. Like more visibility is key. So we decided to throw in a film production component with these rentals. And that kind of goes into events too, but not so much. So we got on Peerspace Gigster, and certain properties do so well on these platforms. Like certain properties just get booked more than Airbnb, to be quite honest. Like, and it's an hourly rate. So we were booking, sometimes double booking. We were booking photo shoots for 3 hours at $85 an hour, flipping it, cleaning like high touch surface areas, bathroom, whatever, flipping it for a check in the next same day at 4 p.m. So our owners were like, yeah, like let's do it.
Kitchen.
This
Yeah.
is a note where we were making 2 nightly rates in one day at this point.
Hmm.
Then we started realizing we're in LA, like how do we get in touch with, like these huge like scouts, like location scouts? So we just did our research. Like we literally started Googling, we started connecting with them like on Instagram, just like all over the place. And then those are like a little bit different though. So it's more like you just kind of submit your portfolio when the scout needs a specific house that has a craftsman style or whatever, like a very specific niche. They reach out to you. You set up a scout. We send a representative, not myself, someone from my team, do the scout with them. They book. And when they book, they book. Like it's not often, but we're talking like $3,000, $8,000 a day.
And so they
Like,
book for a couple of, so those people typically book, because Mike, this could be great for your big house in Orlando. That would be interesting to
Yeah.
see. But do they book for, in your experience, is it typically like a 1 day booking, so they just try to do all the scenes in a single day, or do they take it for 3, 4, 5 days, so they get a couple of days in and out? And do they
So
sleep there, or do they just use
no.
it for, so they're just in during the day and out at night?
Yeah. And like they'll obviously like leave their equipment. Typically they'll leave their equipment. We have a few properties that are gated. So like they'll like leave their truck there. So for them, like they're not paying parking permits. They're not paying garage. So they just
Mhm.
leave the truck there with all the equipment there overnight. I mean, these are like big productions, right? So typically it's like 1 day setup or measurements, whatever. Second day load in, third day's film, maybe 2 days of film, fourth, fifth day is breakdown. And that's it.
I
And they
just found one on that. I'd never heard of Gigster. I've heard of Peerspace.
Oh,
You
I love
talked to them.
Gigster. We are like buddies with Gigster. We book a lot. And those are like smaller ones, like by the hour, $85 an hour. We have a house
In
that
my community, there's one in there, E, for $500 an hour for a 9-bed.
why not?
Damn, you gotta throw that up there.
An
The
hour.
bad thing about this is the only downfall is we can't put it on our software, like on our
Yeah.
messaging software.
So you can block it.
Yeah, I get that.
This is
I
like the
flag
big
those
thing.
emails from Peerspace though, because I still get inquiries on Peerspace. Like we'll rent out the club room from the Cove in the off season, and I think I've done 2 bookings just because I'm like, whatever. But occasionally we'll take one.
Yeah. But that's the only thing. Like, we really can't streamline it just yet. Hopefully soon. We'll see.
Hmm.
But it's definitely
I
worth
love
it.
it. Man,
And then
I have selfishly so many questions on that, but I want to keep us more focused here.
yeah.
So what, from your standpoint now, you've got a few different avatars. What is your goal and direction for 2023 and going forward for your company, and what types of properties and guests are you trying to attract right now?
I think we're attracting the right guest. We're already attracting like that, maybe like, I don't know, like they're paying like a higher tier, right? Like maybe not like the luxury tier. Like we're definitely not doing like the luxury, like $2,000 a night houses in LA, but we're definitely doing like upper to mid scale level, like $500 a night, right? So I love that. I kind of love like the normal person booking our house, like whatever. But I think in 2023, besides, you know, releasing some duties, I'm looking at like managing some of like those motels by the stadiums. So I don't know if you know anything about
Mm.
LA. The stadium was built in Inglewood. Inglewood obviously is getting gentrified, and there's so many motels that I drive by and I'm like, I'm gonna take over that motel and make them a lot of money. So that is our next step, is creating a business plan and seeing how we could get our foot in the door.
Hmm.
Should try and
Kind of
buy.
going back to your roots,
Yeah.
your hospitality roots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I am.
I love that. And so
I would
I
buy them
think,
on creative financing.
yeah,
Just saying.
yeah, you should.
See, I need to do so much research on all of that.
Well, we have a great group that you can join if you want to talk about that. But um, what? So we have a lot of people that are going in that direction, right? And so I'm curious to know, with your hospitality kind of background, what are some of the ways that you look at a property that may be unique to you due to the fact that you have such an extended hospitality background through school and the Four Seasons? So when you look at those, like you drove by a motel, why would you choose Motel A versus Motel B? So what are some of those things that you're like, oh, this is the sauce?
I think location, I mean, like, just of any, like, property you're gonna purchase, right? Or even
Mhm.
rent, you want that location to be A1 to whatever you're doing. So here, specifically in the city of Inglewood, we have the Rams Stadium, SoFi
Mhm.
Stadium, and right next to it is the Forum, what's now called the Kia Forum, and they have, like, the biggest concerts. Like, that's, like, I think it holds more than Crypto Arena, which was once Staples Center. So those 2 arenas bring in so many tourists to the city, and there's no housing there. Like, for the Super Bowl, LA, like, the city of Inglewood, like, anybody could put their house on Airbnb because there wasn't enough lodging. Like, they built these awesome stadiums, but, like, the infrastructure wasn't there yet. So but now that, like, Super Bowl was not here, obviously, this year, now you need a permit, you have to go through all the things with the city, whatever. But if these motels were, like, 4-star, like, it could be boutique, like, you could have, like, all, like, the cool Instagram type of, like, murals, you could be, like, super nice looking, but they could just make a killer. Like, right now, like, we go online and we see these motels, they're, like, 49 bucks a night, and, like, obviously, they're not attracting the clientele that's going to these games or these concerts. These people are booking Airbnbs. But if they could book a one-bedroom room at this motel walking distance, that's cute, it's clean, it's safe, there's 24-hour security, like, why wouldn't they?
Mm.
So for me, it's all about the location because parking is horrible there. Like, when we go to football games, like, it's crazy, it's like 80 bucks to park, and tourists don't even realize that when they come in.
I love it. I
So
love it.
location is everything.
That's it. Location, 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 right?
We could fix the looks, we could fix the aesthetic, we could fix anything about the house or about the structure. It's this location, like that piece of land, once you have it, you have it.
I'm curious from your standpoint, and I don't know how involved you were you involved at all on the revenue management side of the hotels?
I actually ended my career in sales, so yes.
Okay. For like pricing and stuff like that?
So we work directly with our revenue manager, but yeah, so like we would, discuss rates and understand that's another thing as well that we do in our business. Like, yeah, we love Price Labs, but Price Labs doesn't know that there's an awesome playoff game happening and we got to up that rate. Like, you know what I mean? You just never know. So that's another thing. You have to know how to price and you have to know what's
Mm,
going on.
mm. I think that's one of the things that most folks, and even myself, didn't realize, like you kind of set it and forget it with the price labs. And then the more you scale, you're analyzing more KPIs, more numbers, and you're like, there's so much more juice on this squeeze if I just spend a little more time. So like now Matt, who's my pretty much my right hand man and runs our portfolio, like I'm offloading so much more of the maintenance and the coordination to the rest of the team. And he's just spending so much more of his time really dialing in revenue management strategies
That
for
would
the
be
entire portfolio.
that would be somebody I would love to have on my team. Like if I would hire like the next person, it would be someone to literally just focus on the revenue side of it and like flex those prices as often as possible. I mean, we're doing it well, but like you could always improve that.
Yeah, 100%. And
Because
that's one thing that
that's
we're
yeah, and a scale, right? Because that's the thing. It's just like once you start realizing a scale on a 67 key hotel, adding, like 5, 10, 15% extra bookings a month at the bottom line at the end of the year, what I mean? Like that's some difference between making, you know, a
Mhm.
couple 100,000 more to like
Definitely.
seriously making more money. And a good revenue manager for me is such a like important role because it really kind of pays for itself. It's one of those jobs that it's very linear, right? It's just like increase revenue, and then you're like, great, you got to here. Now this, you offset your salary, and then everything else that you make on top of this is just it's just cake.
yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. I mean, it's just so crazy. Like one time, I don't know what was happening in the city, but Price Labs, it was a one-bedroom condo, super nice condo, like luxury, like everything inside the condo is luxury, the building's luxury. Like it usually goes for like 250 a night on weekends. Price Labs was like 190. We put it on for $750 and we got booked for one night. And it's because the hotels near us, the hotels around that area were going for $900 a night.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
another thing. You have to look see, like, what the hotels are, like, pricing at too.
Yeah, because they have their
Just
shit
like an Airbnb, like,
dialed
you
in.
have
Yeah.
kitchen, you have, so much more.
Mhm.
Yeah. So for those of you that are a little more seasoned and you're like scaling it up, like really, I don't think it's my first lever that I would pull for like optimizing. I think the first one is like you just got to have good inventory. And like
Yeah.
you talked about it subtly that you have good inventory, and I'm sure they're designed well, and they're furnished well, and they're photographed
Well,
well.
we tell
Like
them, we're like, "This is
that's
fly." Like, I tell my owner straight up, I'm like, "This is, like, not gonna work." Like,
Mhm.
there's
yeah,
so much competition. Like, there's so much competition. And yeah,
Yeah.
you have to photograph well. Everything has to, like
Mhm.
people book off looks.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
everybody's
very
talking
They
shallow.
right now
literally
about all
give a shit.
these.
They don't even care. Like, it's literally if it looks nice.
Mhm.
Well, that's the thing, and there's a lot of chatter online right now and all these webinars and all these different things about all these fancy pricing strategies. But if your property looks like shit, I don't care how fancy your pricing strategy is, you're not gonna get booked, dude. Like,
Mhm.
the property sells itself, and then you can tweak your pricing, but if the property looks like shit, you're focusing on the wrong thing. You've
Yeah.
gotta fix the property first, and then
Yeah.
focus on your pricing.
And you have to, like, spend some money to make money, to be quite honest. Like, I also tell, like, potential clients and homeowners that too, like, they're scared of getting, like, reckless guests or, like, the wrong crowd, and I'm like, honestly, it's, like, what you put into your Airbnb too. Like, if you're gonna put, like, a bunch of, like, crazy wallpaper and, like, crazy lights and, like, whatever, you're probably gonna attract, like, a partier. But if you know, put like nice West Elm, whatever, more sophisticated furnishings, that's who you're going to attract at the end of the day.
Yep. 100%. 100%. So this was super fascinating, and I could
Yeah.
go
Yeah. I
ask
feel
you a
like we could
million
just
other
keep
questions
rabbit holing about
selfishly.
this. Yeah, for
So,
sure.
but I want to be respectful of your time. So, but before we get into the last question, where can folks learn more about you and MBX properties and all the good stuff that you got going on right now?
So Instagram for sure, MBX Homes. We love TikTok, also MBX Homes. Feel free to DM us. We will love to talk to you. You could also find our email right there as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, the last question that we ask all of our guests is, what is your number one secret to success with short-term rentals?
Oh my God. I feel like I have a lot of secrets. No. My number one secret is honestly, I just tell my clients, like, you have to have one thing in your house that nobody else has in their normal house. So, like, when you go on vacation,
Mm.
like, you have an espresso machine and you're like, "Wow, I've always wanted one, but this house has an espresso machine, like, let's do it." I have a house with a really fancy toaster, Revolution toaster. People talk about it. You know, people love, like, that one thing.
Toast.
Probably gonna go buy it. I mean, who knows? Or you people even ask us, like, you know, "Where'd you get your linens?" Like, spend money. Spend money and the money will come back for sure.
Love it. Love it. Well, Mercedes, so great meeting you and connecting with you. And thank you for coming on here and sharing all of your wisdom with us. And for all the listeners out there, hope you guys took some notes. If not, I would go back and hopefully when you're not driving, take some good notes and ask yourself, how can I implement some more of these like strategies to give a better experience to attract higher guests, to increase my revenue and charge a premium for my properties, and stop
Mhm.
trying to race to the bottom and play that Walmart, Amazon game.
Yeah.
Go for the
Don't
premium
do it.
product.
Don't do
Mhm.
IKEA. Like, don't do it.
Love
Everyone
it.
has
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
Ciao, guys.
Hey, STR Nation, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. And in the comments, let us know what topics you want us to cover on upcoming episodes, and we'll make sure to get that in the books for you. And if you really want to learn how to launch, automate, and scale your short-term rental business, if you want to go deeper, then check out our free masterclass at strsecrets.com.